Hello, everybody. As you can see, it's evening in New York, and we welcome you to our first interview from Endoscopy On Air. We are all very excited and preparing for the big event in June 4. So please participate and watch all your favorite stars starting in Sydney and ending up in South America. So in preparation for that, I'm happy to welcome Amrita Sethi from New York. Amrita, hi.
Hi, Thomas. Great to be here with you. Or great to have you here in New York with me.
Yeah. I just flew in like Superman, or tried to be so. Technically, it hasn't been a Superman show, but we finally got together at the end. And I think we have a guest tonight, don't we?
We do. We are having the pleasure and the honor to speak with Shyam Varadarajulu, who's joining us also here virtually in New York. Shyam's going to be...
Hi, Thomas. Hi, Amrita.
Hi there. How are you today?
Very good. Thank you. Good to see you guys.
You too. So Shyam's going to be joining us for Endoscopy On Air as one of our faculty members. And we thought we would just spend a little time this morning talking to you about your thoughts on the program and sort of how the past year has been for you.
Well, I think I'm very excited about the program, that's for sure. The world has changed a lot in the last 2 years. And I think Thomas and his team with Ale Repici have taught a new way to the world of teaching and sharing endoscopic procedures. I think we used to travel all across the world, land in a particular place, spend 2 days and fly out. But now things have changed. We are in our offices, we are at our homes at the time we like, we switch on, we watch our favorite doctors and watch what we want to watch, when we want to watch, and how we want to watch. So I think the conference is awesome. I really enjoy it. It's low cost with the maximum benefit to everyone. But as far as I'm concerned, yeah, COVID has slowed things down for me. I just work. I don't travel as much. I go visit my family here and there. And then I miss seeing you guys and all my professional colleagues around the world. It's nothing like seeing people in person, but we have adapted. That's what I would say.
Shyam, you're actually no stranger to digital endoscopy education. You've kind of really created a world for us of live endoscopy and educational videos. You've been doing that for years. Do you think that you're actually ahead of your time? What we're seeing now with Endoscopy On Air is sort of all of that realizing its place in our world of endoscopy and education?
Yes and no, Amrita. I think in 2018 and then in 2019, we did transfer out of Orlando, just purely a digital course. I think we launched the single-use duodenoscope out of the unit. We also launched some new accessories out of our unit for some companies. We felt that was the best way to reach an audience around the world, because when we run our course in Orlando, we have delegates from about 40 countries, maybe 300 to 400 doctors. But then we realized when you do it online, you have access to about 1,500 doctors in 80 or 90 countries. And the cost was phenomenally cheaper. We were not spending 400,000. We spent about 20 to 25,000. We could record it. You can play it on YouTube when you want. So I think it was, we knew it was the way to go. This was coming. But what we did not anticipate was it will come just in one go with COVID. And then I think Thomas took this to a whole different level. I think Endoscopy On Air was, when this proposal was presented to us, we thought it was crazy that people will transmit all the way from Hyderabad to Sydney to South America and Japan. We thought it may not be practical, but obviously it has been proved wrong. You got 30 to 40,000 people around the world watching this procedure when they want to watch, and then these things are all transmitted with high quality material. You got world-class faculty with enthusiasm. So this is going to stay. That is a given. I don't think this is going away. This is going to get better and better with time. We will have some live courses, but I think live courses in the future is going to be a very small component of teaching. Virtual education is the future.
Well, Shyam, thanks very much for the flowers. But you know, I like to play the devil's advocate. So I hear, especially, you know, for the smaller courses, local ones, I hear that people say, I want to go back to the physical meetings, to the meetings with the presence. So what will happen? I mean, how will Orlando 2022 look like? How will Endo Club this year, next year look like? Will it be smaller? What's the best hybrid form? So I'm not sure. I'm curious to get your ideas.
I think, Thomas, one of the things that the delegates like is a hands-on experience. So we know that with virtual courses, we can never bring people to your lab to teach them one-on-one. You can't bring them to your breakfast session with a group of 5 people, use a model, and do those type of things. So I think the international participation in courses is going to decline. I don't think people are going to travel across continents to come for a 1 or a 2-day program. I think that's going to get less unless people are having other interests, like going and seeing Orlando. They want to spend time in Disney, or they want to go see New York City as they go for a course. I think that is, that's going to be about a small component. People who live locally, for example, the people in the state of Florida or the neighboring states would like to come. They will say, well, it's a short drive. I will just take a few days off from work. But I think people from overseas and far off places will just tune on and do the whole thing digitally. And I think the days of traveling 2 days and 2.5 days, standing in lines in front of consulates and embassies to get visas to attend these courses, I think that is irreversibly transformed. And those of us running courses, if we don't adapt to the setting and if we don't integrate your online course with a physical course, we are going to lose a lot. I think online courses are easy to conduct compared to live courses. So I think it's going to be a combination.
Well, I'm also curious because there has been something which was called or is called compliance. And this has already interfered quite a bit. So we doctors were accused to travel just for pleasure, to go 1 hour to the meeting, and the rest is nice dinners and helicopter flights and whatsoever sponsored by pharma companies. So is this finished forever?
Compliance, I don't know about the West, but in the US, we always lived with compliance. We have these problems, and we go through CME offices and we fill up all these paperwork. There are a lot of restrictions. But I don't think the compliance will be the Achilles heel for this concept. I don't think so. We have managed to live with compliance, and I think we will adjust compliance. That may not be the major problem, Thomas. However, there are some institutions in the United States that does have a problem with compliance as far as transmitting procedures overseas. Some healthcare institutions like ours is very open. They don't have a problem transmitting live procedures. I don't think Europe or Asia has a problem. But some institutions in the United States, legally, they think it is not appropriate to transmit procedures overseas and so on. I see that to be the only barrier.
So the compliance people won't lose their jobs?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think their jobs administrators' jobs are always more secure than physician jobs.
Yeah.
So Shyam, one question for you is, what do you think this will do for the speed at which we find ourselves adopting more to new techniques and new quality and standard methods that our studies are demonstrating? For example, polypectomy techniques or instruments for removal. Do you think that moving towards a global digital platform will allow for this to happen more quickly, or what's your thoughts on that?
It's probably a fantastic question, because if you've got tools, and if you're just going to demonstrate those tools and techniques only online, for people who don't have access to those tools and who are not physically present to watch them, these just remain concepts or advanced procedures on paper. So I think industry, as transmissions are going to mature and develop, Industry will have to develop animations, and then they will have to develop online training tools. How those tools will evolve, I don't know. Maybe we will do procedures, and we will have teaching modules for people to go and work through. Maybe there will be animation sequences through which they can learn, and then industry folks will take those devices to their respective doctors or customers in their regions and have a phantom model through which they will be trained. I think the transmission of courses is way ahead of its time. I think training has not caught up yet in our digital age. I think for robotics and for a few things, there are some training modules, but endoscopy has not done a very good job because it's a hands-on experience. I think this has to be built in for our colleagues around the world to have some sort of an experience digitally so that they can translate it into clinical practice. Otherwise, if they're just watching on screen somebody else perform these procedures, it's going to be something irrelevant to them.
So Shyam, do you envision you virtually go to a training room in India and another one in Singapore on the same day, and you're standing behind someone and maybe even interfering? Is that what you could dream of?
I haven't gone that far, Thomas, but there are certain things we have already done. So we have online for an industry done some teaching courses for people where we demonstrated for a small group of doctors where you have feedback from them, and they will ask you when you're doing this procedure, what do you see on your left, what do you see on the right, and then and it was a very small group session, so that it's like doing a preceptorship course where they come to you and then they watch you and then you tell them in the room what you're doing. So that was done successfully well on a few occasions. The second, I think, that will impact is in the United States, we have got credentialing requirements where you have to go, and when somebody is doing a procedure for the first time, we call that proctoring. You go and sit them and then you grade them and you tell the hospital, yes, I have spent 2 days with you, observed 2 procedures with your doctor. He can be credentialed to perform something. I think proctoring can be done if somebody has gone through adequate training online, possibly, where you've got a big screen and somebody is doing a procedure, because even if you're there physically, we can't grab the scope. We need special licensing. So proctoring can be done online. On the other hand, if somebody is learning a procedure, for example, learning EOS for the first time, I don't think that's possible. There's only so much we can do digitally. It's going to require online physical presence to walk them through those procedures. I think when people are trained, we can fine tune them, we can proctor them, we can provide them credentialing by grading their technical skills. Those things can be achieved digitally.
Well, maybe it's like to finish this up. Maybe it's like these chess masters. They're playing chess against 50 people in the same hall. So let's see what comes.
The third edition of Endoscopy on Air. We're hearing the secrets of what's going to come.
Well, I think we're developing this format here, aren't we?
Yes.
Maybe we shouldn't talk too much about it.
Well, I mean, there are now, there are developing augmented reality and virtual reality hands-on models. I think that is an entirely new area to be developed now that there's a need. So I think that's really exciting to see how we'll play a part in that. But to take it to lighter matters, Shyam, so all of us have been kind of locked up for a year, and now that we're so slowly looking at being released, what are you looking forward to doing?
Well, let me think. I would like to travel a little bit more. I don't like wearing masks all the time. Wherever I go, I have a mask in my car, a mask in my living room, a mask in my office. Somebody comes and I have to cover myself. I'm looking forward to the days where I can forget this mask and breathe well. And second, traveling is a hassle when you're on an aircraft. I'm just, you have to wear your mask unless you're eating something, and that is no fun. It's a physical inconvenience. Those are the simple things I'm looking forward to. And finally, I think I learned when I go to courses. We always think that when we go and we transmit procedures and you perform, people learn from you. That is true, but we do learn a lot seeing how others organize their unit, how they transfer their cases, the educational content. You watch somebody else do the same thing you do, but in a completely different fashion. So I miss that that learning experience, particularly in Asia and Europe. So I'm looking forward to those simple pleasures to return. Hopefully, by the beginning of next year is when I see this happen.
So for now, your virtual passport and your round the world plane ride with Endoscopy On Air will suffice?
I think so. I mean, I don't see a way out of this, Amrita. I think universal vaccination is going to be until the month of September. Once countries get vaccinated and they've got a critical coverage, I don't think they're going to open up free travel from everywhere in areas where there are outbreaks. There is going to be quarantine. People are going to come. And if there's an epidemic somewhere, they will say, well, people from this particular country, when they come here, they have to quarantine themselves and so on. So I think for this year, we are going to have this problem of having physical courses. It's not going to be easy. Once I think 80 to 90% of the world's population is vaccinated and there's no new variants coming, next year may be a change. So I'm going to hold my enthusiasm in check and just hope for the best and be prepared for the unexpected.
And enjoy your first class seat to all the places that will be transmitted during Endoscopy On Air in the meantime.
I really think so. I think staying at home like this and watching things is a first class experience. That is true. And I think this is really, really going to stay. And I want to congratulate Thomas and you for organizing Endoscopy On Air. And there's something very noble out of it. You're taking the very best our profession has to offer, and you're putting it in every household that has an endoscopist who has a computer. It is a deep statement, and you're doing it because one, you enjoy it, and two, there's a very noble purpose behind it. So I think we all have to be proud, particularly the organizers of Endoscopy On Air, on what they are doing. It's very meaningful to a lot of people. So thank you.
From my side, I will echo that and congratulate Thomas and Ali Rapici and the entire team behind Endoscopy On Air for not only taking on this effort, but just such an amazing job last year that really gave us something to look forward to and be excited about in this year, despite not being able to return completely to normal. We now know that we have a new normal, and it's really wonderful. So congratulations to you, Thomas.
Thank you. Maybe at the end, let's very briefly cover two areas. Shyam, what's the paper of the last maybe 5 years you're most proud of?
Are you asking about my paper, Thomas?
Yes, of course.
I think I'm very proud of the randomized trial we did. It's called the MISER trial, comparing endoscopy and minimally invasive surgery for necrotizing pancreatitis. I believe it's the first paper outside of the Netherlands. Nobody else has done that. So that is a paper that I really enjoyed, a study that was difficult to conduct, but I think I'm very proud of that study. The second study was very likely what we did with a randomized trial comparing lumen-opposing metal and plastic stents for drainage of necrotic fluid collections. And I think that was a well-done study. So those were these are not studies that I would say are the very top of what endoscopy has to offer. But I think in the world of endoscopic ultrasound, they were my top two studies.
There might have been a third one, maybe scientifically not in your mind so high ranking, but it was about single-use scopes. You know, speaking about COVID and masks, I increasingly read in the online media that COVID is used for pushing single-use scopes. So what's your vision? Do we have to go to the hospital administration and ask for a few million more budget for ERCP, or?
I think in Europe and Asia, that's what you need to do. You may have to go to the hospital. In the US, it's fast evolving. 55% of our population is covered by Medicare. So for all our outpatient procedures, we can use the single-use scope. We don't have a restriction. And I think for inpatients, there's a very high chance we will get coverage within the next 2 or 3 months. And once CMS, which we call Center for Medicare Control, once they approve this, all the private carriers, we expect them to approve. So in the United States, it's going to be available, Thomas. I don't think we're going to have any restrictions on the use of a single-use scope in the US, but I think outside the US, it's going to be completely different. And I also personally don't think the single-use scope has got anything to do with COVID. I think, all the technicians working in these rooms always wear a mask. They can clean it, they can sterilize it. I don't think there is any data to say that the use of a single-use scope will decrease COVID infection. I think multi-drug resistant organisms and so forth, yeah, possibly, but its relevance to COVID, I'm not sure.
But I mean, wait a bit. I'm puzzled. You say the single-use scopes are coming, full stop. So be better prepared for it, budget-wise, or.
Single-use scopes are here in the United States. I personally think, unless Amrita disagrees, in 10 years, 2030, we may not have any reusable duodenoscopes. I think eventually this platform is going to expand and expand and expand, and then replace reusable duodenoscopes and then eventually reusable endoscopes. That's what happened in laparoscopic surgery. It's going to happen. Whether the rest of the world will catch up with us, I don't know.
Oh, so again, America first.
Maybe for the right reason this time.
I think there are definitely other issues that, single-use scope will start to address that will become important. Environmental issues, ergonomic issues, things that we may never have really brought into the conversation before, but when we start to see what the benefits can be, I think some of those things will start to come into focus as well, and we'll look at the whole issue in different light. So I think that a lot more to come yet.
I have to digest that. So I'll start speaking to the administration from Monday onwards, because this is a long process to, just budget 2.5 million more for ERCP. There will be great joy, I'm sure, but so I think I need until 2030, I'm sure. And then Shyam, at the end, finally, any hobby you would like to tell us? What you do beside medicine?
So I have a very boring lifestyle, Thomas. So I like watching documentaries, and I like watching, believe it or not, World War II documentaries. I just watch them. I mean, I just enjoy watching old documentaries. That's my favorite. And there are only 5 or 6 movies I watch. And I watch them over and over and over. And I don't watch anything else other than those 6 or 7 movies.
Maybe you'll start to work on a documentary of your life.
Well, my life is very...
all that you've accomplished so far in the world of endoscopy.
I chronicle a few things. I spend time with Basil Hrushevitz. So, I've got some memorabilia from him. I like history. I just like old things, and that's my hobby. I go running every day in the morning. Apart from that, I like going to office even on the weekends. I like writing manuscripts. It's very therapeutic for me. When I go on a run, I just think about what my introduction or what my abstract will be, and that's my life. And there's nothing more too interesting about it. But that's what I do.
Well, Amrita, maybe we next year we start a series about the ancient heroes of endoscopy, and Shyam again starts with Basil Hrushevitz. That's a very nice idea.
Yeah.
But I think this sort of brings us to an end to this very, very nice first interview. So Shyam, we are very, very grateful. And to everybody viewing, please come to us, watch Endoscopy on Air, June 4. We start at 9 a.m. Central European Time, and really go once around the world. Thank you very much, Amrita, as well.
Thank you, Thomas. Been a pleasure. Thank you, Shyam. Looking forward to seeing everybody in June.
Thank you, Thomas, and thanks, Amrita, for having me.
Bye.
Bye.